first, let's go right to Mike Tobin with the latest on the ground in Tel Aviv. Mike.
Hey there, Todd. The Iranian ballistic missile attacks continued here in central Israel overnight. There were two separate attacks that came just after midnight local time. That caused people here in Tel Aviv in particular to scramble for the bomb shelters. The missile defense systems did their jobs. Multiple explosions in the skies over Tel Aviv. Several missiles did reach the ground. A parking lot was hit. No reports of injury. Israeli warplanes were active last night. The IDF says some 50 fighter jets took to the air and hit some 20 targets in Iran overnight. The targets include sites that produce raw materials and components for missiles. Israel sent warnings into southwest Tehran for people to evacuate before targets were struck there.
We've struck deep, hitting Iran's nuclear, ballistic, and command capabilities. The Iranian regime has spent years getting closer to a nuclear weapon. They have spent billions building a ballistic missile program. Our mission is clear: to remove the threat at its source.
The U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem announced it is closing during this stage of the conflict. This follows damage to the U.S. consulate in Tel Aviv caused by a missile impact. No injuries resulting from that. It is also in step with most of the businesses in Israel closing while the missile attacks continue. President Trump and Iran's leader traded shots over social media. President Trump posting unconditional surrender, implying that is meant for the Grand Ayatollah. Khamenei, for his part, posted the battle begins 6 days into this stage of the conflict. Carly and Todd.
Mike, for so long, Iran has used its terror proxies, Hezbollah and the Houthis, to do their dirty work. Have those groups said anything about jumping into this and helping Iran out now?
Well, the Houthis have fired several missiles in the direction of Israel at this point. We have out of Lebanon word certainly that the president, Joseph Aoun, is encouraging Hezbollah to stay out of the fight. Keep in mind that Hezbollah has been badly weakened since this war began following October 7th, and the people of Lebanon have endured now 4,000 people who have been killed during this stage of the conflict and $11 billion in damage. So you can see why Lebanon's president is encouraging Hezbollah to stay out of it.
Yeah.
Carly?
Yeah, what a difference a pager attack makes. Mike Tobin, live for us in Tel Aviv. Mike, thank you so much. Let's go now to former Assistant Secretary of State Brian Hook. Brian, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. What options do President Trump have on the table right now?
Well, I think the president's chief focus, based on what he said, is the diplomatic track, which he has been pursuing with Steve Witkoff after many rounds of talks with the Iranian regime to try to reach a diplomatic solution to this urgent problem of Iran's nuclear program. But the Iranians have been playing cat and mouse diplomacy for quite some time now, and I think patience is wearing thin with this sort of tactic, which is a hallmark of the Iranian regime. As President Trump said in the first term, Iran has never won a war and never lost a negotiation. This is what Iran is good at. But I think after all these rounds of inconclusive talk and Israel being so successful at degrading Iran's nuclear and military capabilities, the United States now has to take a serious look at what to do to strengthen the diplomatic track through the military option.
Okay, let's pick it up there. The prevailing wisdom is that there would not be boots on the ground in any Iranian war. Assuming you agree with that, as President Trump makes this calculus as to whether or not we're going to join this war or not and how we would join it, what are the cons to joining if American boots would not be on the ground? And presumably, if our first salvo in joining this war is the bunker buster bomb?
Well, the president has a good group of people around him advising him on a range of options. So far, America's involvement in this conflict has been on the defensive side, helping Israel defend itself from the Iranian missile attacks that were described earlier. And so I think now the president clearly giving an option for the Iranian leader to come and sort this out peacefully. There are a range of offensive options. that I think are before the president, and he's weighing those, based on circumstances on the ground. But that can be helping with refueling missions. It can involve joint strikes with the Israelis, and it also can involve an American bomber taking out the nuclear facility in Iran, which is the most significant of all of the nuclear facilities in Fordo.
Yeah. And Brian, if the Iranian nuclear threat is eliminated, what message does that send to Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping?
I think it strengthens President Trump's hand globally in other conflicts. If he is successful, either through a peaceful route, which I think is the preferred route, or something more kinetic, if he were to be successful in taking out this decades-long problem of the Iranian nuclear program, I do think it would strengthen his hand globally. Obviously, this is enormously complicated, the sort of the factors and the decisions that are before the president. But Iran now has enough enriched uranium for many nuclear weapons. And so it is becoming a mounting threat that Israel has done a terrific job at degrading, but is not yet eliminated.
If Iran finally realizes that it is losing, but still refuses to surrender unconditionally, as Donald Trump has asked, what's the worst it could do at this point? In other words, if it wanted to go out in a blaze of glory.
I think that option set is shrinking. Iran has the largest missile inventory of any country in the Middle East, but Israel has taken out so many of its missile launchers. And there's this huge imbalance that it was a vulnerability that the Israelis have exploited with the Iranian regime, that they have more missiles than they have launchers. It's quite a lopsided ratio. Israel has now taken out anywhere between a third and a half of these missile launchers. And as you've seen night after night, the number of strikes conducted by Iran has gone down fairly dramatically. And this has allowed Israel to achieve dominance over the skies of Iran, where they can fly as they wish. So that is a huge accomplishment. Israel did in 72 hours what President Putin in Russia still has not done over 3.5 years in Ukraine, to achieve aerial dominance. So the conditions are much more favorable than they were just a few days ago.
Yeah, and I'm hearing that the ease with which Israel was able to control Iranian airspace even surprised some officials within Israel. So it's 5:08 in the morning on the East Coast. We will see what today brings for the region and the whole world. Brian, thank you for joining us.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.